aside from having to speak with me and wait for me, how is your day going so far?
It's been full. We've been practicing we've got 2 big concerts in Glasgow and Manchester this week. So we were practicing for that. But no, everything was good. We went for a dog walk. My hay fever's driving me mad. It's just the usual trials and tribulations of life, isn't it?
Yeah, is it still the coffee tea part of the day, or is that way behind you?
No, this is 5 o'clock at night, mate. Nice office you've got there. Is it your office or is it your?
The living space. It's where I do the interviews, I investigate, and we also live. It's this beach town on Long Island, New York. What can you do? It's not a place where you're playing on tour, though. That unfortunately.
I know. I wish. Well, I'm saying that I've not got there yet, but to ask for more places when I've got a nagging feeling that visiting anywhere is going to be very difficult. So yeah, my son was just telling me that when he did the Smashing Pumpkins tour, they only did 5 gigs, and the bags, guitars, etc., and equipment went missing on 3 of them.
Wow!
So on that ratio, God knows how we're going to go on.
I wouldn't worry just yet, fingers crossed. But the bottom line is, and can I compliment you, or are you one of those people who can't take a compliment?
No, but it depends what it's for, mate.
Okay, so when I think about, besides the great production work and the collaborations you've done and solo project and all that, the 2 bands that made you a household name to begin with, Joy Division, New Order, those are 2 bands that I can listen to year round, no matter the time of day. I was listening to New Order on the beach a couple of days ago. It's just timeless, great music that holds up.
I tell you what, mate, I'm glad you're in good company as well. Otherwise, I'd be playing to myself, wouldn't I? There's a lot of us that like to hear it, which is one of the good things, and I suppose that's the odd thing that gets you through. I was thinking that the gig on Saturday is a very famous venue in Manchester called the Apollo. And the first time I played at the Apollo was when Joy Division supported the Buzzcocks on the 27th of October 1979, and I was 23. Oh my God, the same age as my daughter, who's just bellowing me in the back. So yeah, I mean, and it's amazing to think that I'm back, 43 years later. Oh,
it's a lot of numbers to consider. And a lot of artists who have that kind of success want to go as far away as possible from that back catalog. In other words, they have something to prove where they go, that was old me, I don't want to think about that. Did you always love your back catalog, or did that come later after you had some time away from it?
It sounds like you've met Bernard then with that question.
No, you're the only member that would talk to me, so
take that as a compliment. That is definitely a compliment. The weird thing is, and I will be truthful because I can be now, is that one of the big frustrations with New Order was the reluctance to play anything from the back catalogue. It's like you were stuck in a rut where you played the same 17 songs over and over again.
Yeah.
And the irony was, it was quite infrequently that you played them. I mean, we were not a high touring band. I think New Order and Peter Hook and the Light have actually got the accolade of doing more touring in their 50s and 60s than they ever did in their 30s, 40s, or 20s, which is bloody ridiculous. It's just mad. How do you? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't imagine why that is. But no, I've always been the one that's been immensely proud of everything, including Joy Division, and was always the ball sticking his hand up going, can't we play Age of Consent? Can't we play Dreams Never End? Can't we play this? Can't we play that? And unfortunately, the answer was generally no. And we only played Joy Division twice. We did it once as a charity concert, and I'm sure that the only reason that New Order did it was because I was going to do it on my own with a backing band if they didn't. So New Order actually played a Joy Division set, and then we repeated that Joy Division set in London. And Barney, when he came off, said, you know what, I don't enjoy playing that. It's a bit miserable. So I'm not going to do that again. And lo and behold, he didn't. The only reason they play them now is because I think it's a way of them stamping their ownership of those songs. As
Right.
It,
John Fogerty Part 2, only this happened first, where you have the person who's willing to play the songs that the people want to hear, and then the other people that seem a little grumpy about it, and then eventually, my words, not yours, cash in a little bit. So I always gave you credit for embracing your past in a cool way, but also pushing the ball forward. Like, you never stopped making music. You never stopped working with great up and coming artists. So
no, I mean, it's, you know, one of the wonderful things I loved about being in a group, and I was watching the Rolling Stones documentary where Keith Richards was saying pretty much the same thing, was that every opportunity that comes your way, be it, you know, playing a church hall locally or playing an arena,
sure.
To me, they're the same. Oh, a chance to play. Wow, this is much better than working for a living. I'll do it. Right. And yet, the more you are eager to do it, as you say, the other side tends to be, no, we don't want to do anything. And I mean, and I used to watch the things that New Order turned down, and literally they made a grown man cry. And I was like so frustrated. And, you know, I think my wife actually sums it up pretty well. She said that when I played with New Order, I never came home happy. And since I started playing it myself, I do nothing but come home happy.
Yeah.
So, you know, for whatever reason, maybe it is me. I'll take it. You know, if the other three are liberated and free now, and joyous in every aspect of their career and their lives, then I'll take it. It was me. It was me that was the problem. You know, I'm not saying it was them. No one will ever know what the problem was. But, you know, there is a difference, and it is a shame. I mean, in my opinion, and I will never change that opinion, New Order was a wonderful, wonderful group. And as I say, New Order now, in my opinion, are not New Order. And I will never change that opinion. And I think they've been very lucky, you know, to do what they're doing. But I mean, that's my opinion. I'm sure if it was one of them and it was us three, you know, that had kicked them out, or, you know, double crossed them, backstabbed them, whatever, I'm sure all of us would be sat here saying the same thing about the other three. It's like human nature, isn't it, really? But yeah, but no, it's wonderful. When I came to play, I remember I was touring with a band called the Clone Roses. I was DJing before the Clone Roses went on.
Yeah.
And what amazed me about it was that everybody thought that they were the Stone Roses.
Right.
And the singer was constantly being, you know, can you sign this for me? And they'd be really shocked when they go, hang on, you've signed this John. And he'd go, okay, that's about him. And they go, hang on, you've got a Scottish accent, you know, and you're not Ian Brown. What's going on, you know? And I was like, fucking hell, this is nuts. And I said to the guy running it, I said to him, you know what? I'm definitely going to start the Salford Joy Division, right? And he said, Peter, he said, if you did, he said, you'd want to be in it, and you can't be in your own tribute band. Well, at least I proved him wrong, in that I am immensely proud of Joy Division. I'm immensely proud of New Order, that we got through and achieved what we did in the 31 years we were together. We really did fight against all the odds. And, you know, we did a fantastic job. The sad thing is we can't find it in ourselves to be respectful to any of the members for those 31 years hard work. But I mean, that's life, and you know, everybody has to just get on with what they're given, don't they? Right?
But
so the thing is that when
pardon the interruption here, but here you are all these years later doing things on your own terms, playing big venues still, sounding great. It's not like the songs are 3 keys down or anything like that. So you're
having to go at New Order there, mate.
I did not do that, but the press release that you put out, I appreciate how it was celebrating your legacy, but at the same time self-deprecating when you said like, and this will cure my imposter syndrome. You put that line in there. So I appreciate how the greatness is there, but at the same time, the modesty is still there all these years later.
Well, I mean, that isn't difficult, you know, coming from a very working class background as I did. And I do realize how lucky I've been and what a wonderful, wonderful life I have now compared to a lot of people. And I'm very grateful for that. But I mean, it has been hard work. And, you know, a lot of us have suffered along the way. And it's quite odd, really, because when I came to do it, I thought that the gigs would be full of, you know, fat old blokes like me, fat bald old blokes like me, you know, living in the past. And then all of a sudden you start doing these Joy Division gigs in places like Mexico, in Brazil, and you're finding a new young audience that are appreciating the music just as much as I did when I was their age. And there's also another audience that has been played it to death by their mothers and fathers, God bless them. So you've got all these new young people because the music is bloody wonderful. It's fantastic music. It's still timeless. Thanks to Martin Hannett, the LPs are timeless. And thanks to Ian Curtis, the lyrics and the passion and the intensity, it still reverberate with young people who were going through what we were going through when we wrote it, confusion, not knowing what the future held, looking out at a country that was, you know, not very bright, was on its knees in many ways for many, many reasons. It was a very bleak snapshot. And yet you realize that every generation has that feeling. And Ian successfully talks to them over and over again. I mean, I've had many shocks in my life playing Joy Division's music, in that to get to Mexico and realize how much the Mexican audience loved Joy Division, which I'd never considered.
Them, you know, that
Brazil,
band,
Peru, Colombia.
Mexico is such a wild card for dark music that you never knew was bigger there than it was anywhere else.
You know, it was amazing that we played in Mexico City, and the promoter was saying to me, I said, "Oh, how have we done, mate?" And he said, "Oh, you've got 4,999." And I went, "Wow." I said, "That is incredible." He said, "Yeah." He said, "The band last week beat you." He said, "They got 5,000." And I said, "Oh, who was that?" And he said, "It's the Stone Roses." I was like, "Wow, that is amazing," you know. And so, yeah, it has been a great. It was, don't get me wrong, it was hard work. It was hard work to begin with. It was very, I realized that I was in a very tricky situation with a lot of fans. I realized that a lot of fans took a lot of convincing. There was also a hell of a kickback from the old keyboard warriors that actually scared off my 3 singers, right? So it was serious. Those 3 guys I had lined up to sing, and it was Rowetta from the Happy Mondays that said to me in the end, she said, "Okay, you're going to have to do it." End of. And I was like, "Ah, shit." Yeah, you know, big shoes to fill.
Right.
Ian Curtis's were big shoes to fill. Luckily, Bernard Sumner's were the same size shoe, so that was quite handy. So the thing is that, you know, having my son play with me when we started was really weird, because that gave it such an eerie feeling. And whilst I was devastated to lose him to the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan, the bugger, it was wonderful to see him sort of grow his own wings, fly the nest, if you like. You know, I miss him terribly when he does go. So, but it's great to see what it led him to. You know, he takes great delight in telling me how many people they're playing to. We've still got a long way to go, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, it's been a wonderful experience, and I must admit that from my point of view, as being a huge fan of Joy Division, probably the biggest, to find a lot of other fans of Joy Division has been an absolute delight. And you know, when people say to you, "Why do you play for so long?" Because I fucking love it. You know, I mean, literally, they have to drag me off. I've become the Bruce Springsteen of Salford. you know, that thing where, you know, where they used to come and drag James Brown off and
With the cape. Yeah.
come back. Yeah, you know, I'm thinking of doing that. So yeah, I've been very lucky. It has been hard work, but it has been amazingly worth it. And, you know, the thoughts that you have, like the thought I had about the Apollo, standing there at 23, absolutely terrified. And lo and behold, I'm standing there 43 years later, absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Sharing wonderful, wonderful music. And I do think, you know, when I used to sit down with Ian, the thing he used to most want to talk about was how the group was going to take over the world. How Joy Division, we were going to take our music and we were going to go here and we were going to go there and we were going to go everywhere. All the places we dreamed of. You know, all our heroes were in Los Angeles or New York. You know, you wanted to emulate the Velvet Underground, Iggy Pop, you know, you name it, any kind of icon of American music.
Right.
And I always think of him whenever I get somewhere, even when we played in Mongolia, and we were the only Western band ever to play in Mongolia at that point. I don't know if they've had more. I know they're not getting any now, but yeah, I don't know if they'd had more, but to play
there's a Mongolian band that's doing the amphitheater circuit here in the States.
Good for them. You know, there was some good music. I was given a lot of music by Mongolian bands, and even though they sing in English, some of the music was great. It was really, really good. But yeah, so every time I get to these places, I always think that's for you, mate. You know, that's for Ian. His dream was to go.
Yeah, his spirit and influence lives on to, you know, and no question about it. And being mindful of your time here, the last question I have for you is,
go on.
Do you have another book in you? I know you've done 3. And your honesty is very refreshing, because a lot of people go, oh, I'm worried about who I'm going to offend with the truth here. You don't quite have that problem.
Well, I'm a bit like Mark Lanigan in that respect. I have got another book, and I have been planning it, and it looks like it will be happening. I've got you have to get sort of a form in your head, and now. The big problem I have in my books is that none of them have a happy ending, and sadly this hasn't got a happy ending either. I'm going to do a book about what happened after New Order split.
Wow.
The legal aspect and the frustration being involved in those decisions that you made when you were 20 that now repeatedly come back to haunt you, that you cannot reverse. And it's going to be a salutary tale of be careful what you sign. As like I always say, I used to have a game with my lawyer where my lawyer would show me a piece of paper and I'd go, what idiot signed this? And he'd turn it over and go, oh, it's you again. I go, fucking hell. So, yeah, you know, as my mother said of my first marriage, she said, act in haste and repent at leisure, Peter. And she was absolutely right about that one as well. So the thing is that the lesson of it will be a look at the music law aspect and the actual legal system with regard to musicians and the pain that not only has it caused me, but also all the people around me. And yeah, it's done nothing for music, which is the saddest thing. But I have got the form of it because obviously there's a few gags. And it's incredibly sad, but also incredibly funny in a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest sort of fashion. And yeah, there's many anecdotes, shall we say, as much as we had the other way around. So yeah, I'd say that I'm 80% there with the idea. So when I get 100% with the idea, I will actually begin to put it together. And yeah, it will be as painful and funny at the same time. Yeah, even the dogs are looking forward to it. How about that?
I am very excited about this book as a recovering music industry person.
Well, you know what?
Contracts.
I actually know so much about the law now, which was quite ironic because when I was 16, I went to be a lawyer and turned it down and got rid of it because it was boring. And now by default, I'm actually I must admit, better educated in aspects of the law than most bloody lawyers that I meet.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I'm like, oh my God, how did that happen? But again, you know, I do realize that everything that I have and everything that I've earned and over the years, there is a price to pay.
Right.
You know? And like the relationship with New Order, I realize is the price to pay for sitting here at the moment, being happy with what I'm doing, being happy with the way the Hacienda works, our club, the way that the legacy is used from the past and also going forward. I realize that there are some things I have to pay. You know, I have to wear the hair shirt on some ways. And let's be fair, let's face it, if you didn't, wouldn't life be boring if we didn't have anything to moan about? What would our wives do if we didn't have anything to moan about? You know?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'll ask her in a couple of minutes, but the bottom line is really thank you for the decades of excellent
You're welcome.
music,
Thank you
and
very much. It's
looking
nice
forward
talking
to whatever's to come, whether it's a book, a Joy Division tour, a New Order tour, the solo stuff, whatever it is.
It's quite interesting because I just got a letter from my old friend Rusty Egan from Visage then, and he sent me a track and it's great. It's a really, really good track. And I was listening to that just before you came on and he said, okay, stick some vocals on it, put some bass on it. So yeah, it's nice. It happens. It's still happening. Thank God. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of the day, man. Take care, Peter.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Paltrocast.